How is a company selling an electric pickup for the price of a used gas truck? That's the question that's quietly shaking the auto industry right now, because while most companies are pushing electric vehicles further into the premium category, one company just did the exact opposite. They dropped a fully electric pickup into the market at around $14,000. And no, this isn't some stripped-down experiment or a startup prototype. This is a serious commercial vehicle, built to work, built to carry loads, built to earn money. And that raises a much bigger question. How did they pull this off? And more importantly, what happens if this actually works? Because if it does, this one truck might force the entire EV industry to rethink everything. But to understand why this is such a big deal, you have to start with the company behind it. Most people still think of Tata Motors as just another regional manufacturer, a company limited to one market. But that assumption couldn't be more off, because over the past decade, Tata has quietly built one of the strongest commercial vehicle networks across multiple continents. We're talking about trucks, buses, and pickups running daily in parts of Africa, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. In many of these regions, Tata vehicles aren't just common, they're essential. Entire transport systems rely on them. And that kind of presence doesn't come from flashy design or cutting-edge features. It comes from something far more valuable. Reliability. Tata built its reputation by focusing on what actually matters to drivers. Not luxury, not hype, but durability, low cost, and the ability to keep running under tough conditions. While companies like Tesla pushed the boundaries of tech and performance, Tata focused on the ground reality. What do drivers need every single day? What helps businesses survive? What keeps costs low? And that mindset is exactly what led to what happened next. Because when a company with that kind of real-world experience suddenly launches an electric pickup at a price this low, it's not random, it's calculated. This truck shouldn't exist at this price. That's the first reaction most people have when they hear about it. A fully electric commercial pickup sitting in the same price range as diesel mini trucks? It sounds almost unrealistic. But that's exactly what Tata introduced with the Intra EV. At first glance, it doesn't try to impress you with flashy features. There's no attempt to make it look futuristic or overly premium. Instead, everything about it is built around function. It offers around 200 kilometers of range, which is more than enough for daily city operations. It supports fast charging, so downtime stays low. And most importantly, it maintains a strong load capacity. This isn't an EV built for attention. It's built to work. And that's where things start to get interesting. Because while other companies are busy designing electric vehicles for lifestyle buyers, Tata designed this one for people who depend on their vehicle to earn money every single day. Delivery drivers, small business owners, local transporters, people who don't care about 0 to 60 times, they care about how much they save by the end of the month. But that still doesn't explain how the price is so low. And this is where the real strategy starts to reveal itself. Tata didn't cut costs by removing quality. They cut costs by removing inefficiency. The first move was local manufacturing. By building the vehicle primarily in India, Tata avoids heavy import costs that inflate prices in many global markets. When production stays local, expenses drop across the board. Materials, labor, logistics, all of it becomes more controlled. And that saving gets passed directly to the buyer. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. The second move is something most people overlook. Tata didn't start from scratch. Instead of developing an entirely new platform, they built this electric pickup on the foundation of an already existing model, the Intra. That means the structure, the design, and many core components were already tested and proven. This alone saves massive amounts of time and development cost. No need to reinvent what already works. And then comes the third decision, which might be the smartest of all. They didn't overbuild the product. See, a lot of modern vehicles come loaded with features that look impressive, but don't actually matter for daily use. Touchscreens, advanced lighting systems, and unnecessary design elements. These all add cost. Tata stripped all of that away. They focused only on what a commercial driver actually needs. Strength, reliability, low maintenance, nothing more, nothing extra. And that's how they brought the cost down. But even after all of this, there's still one major factor left. The most expensive part of any electric vehicle, the battery. And this is where things get really interesting. Because Tata didn't go for the most advanced battery, they went for the smartest one. Most high-end electric vehicles use batteries that rely on materials like nickel and cobalt. These materials offer high energy density, which means a longer range, but they also come with a higher cost and higher heat generation, and that creates risks, especially in heavy daily use. Instead, Tata likely chose a different path: LFP batteries, lithium iron phosphate. Now this might sound technical, but the impact is simple. LFP batteries are cheaper to produce. They don't rely on expensive materials. They are more stable, meaning they don't heat up as quickly. And most importantly, they last longer. They can handle more charging cycles without degrading as fast. And for a commercial vehicle, that changes everything, because these trucks aren't driven occasionally. They're used all day, charged frequently, pushed to their limits. In that kind of environment, battery lifespan matters more than maximum range. Sure, LE batteries offer slightly less range compared to premium options, but Tata didn't need maximum range. They needed a practical range, around 200 kilometers, just enough to cover daily operations without unnecessary cost. And that one decision is what made the entire pricing strategy possible. But here's where it gets even more interesting, because this truck isn't meant for the average car buyer. It's meant for a completely different kind of customer. Think about small business owners who rely on daily transportation, people delivering goods within cities, grocery suppliers, local vendors, construction material transporters. These are the users who drive 50 to 100 kilometers every single day. For them, the biggest expense isn't the vehicle itself. It's running the vehicle. Fuel costs, maintenance, repairs. These add up month after month. Now imagine switching from diesel to electric. A typical diesel pickup might cost hundreds every month just in fuel. Add maintenance, oil changes, filters, engine wear, and the cost keeps climbing. But with an electric pickup, those expenses drop drastically. Electricity costs far less than fuel. There's no engine oil, fewer moving parts, less wear and tear. Over time, the savings become impossible to ignore. We're talking about up to a 70% reduction in running costs. And that's the moment where this stops being just a vehicle and becomes a financial decision. Because now, buyers aren't asking, "Can I afford this truck?" They're asking, "How much more money will I keep if I switch?" And once that shift happens, adoption becomes inevitable. But the impact doesn't stop at one market, because if this model works in India, it can spread fast. Look at Southeast Asia. Countries like Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam have similar business environments: small-scale transport, growing delivery demand, price-sensitive buyers. The same formula applies. Now look at Africa. In many regions, fuel costs are high, and infrastructure is limited. A vehicle that reduces fuel dependency while keeping maintenance low becomes extremely attractive, especially when it's built tough enough to handle rough conditions. And that's exactly where Tata's experience gives it an edge. They've already been operating in these markets. They understand the conditions, the roads, the customer needs. This isn't a new company trying to enter unfamiliar territory. It's a company expanding into spaces it already understands. And that's what makes this so dangerous for competitors. Because now, the pressure begins. Companies like Mahindra and Mahindra are already strong in the commercial segment, but aggressive pricing like this forces a response. Either match the price or offer significantly more value. Then there's Ashok Leyland, a major player in trucks and buses. If Tata starts dominating the small EV pickup segment, the gap could grow quickly. And it's not just local competition. Chinese EV manufacturers have built their reputation on low-cost production. But Tata brings something they often struggle with in certain markets: trust, a long-standing presence, a service network, a brand people already rely on. And that combination, low cost plus trust, is hard to beat, which leads to a much bigger shift happening in the background. For years, the EV conversation has been dominated by premium vehicles, high performance, advanced features, expensive designs. But that model leaves out a huge portion of the global market. And now, that gap is being filled, because this isn't just about one truck. It's about a change in direction, a move from luxury EVs to utility EVs, from technology-driven design to purpose-driven design. And if this approach scales, it could reshape how companies build electric vehicles altogether. Because in the end, the companies that win this race might not be the ones with the most advanced technology. They might be the ones who understand one simple thing better than everyone else: how vehicles are actually used in the real world. And this $14,000 electric pickup might be the first real proof of that shift.